What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop. In this episode, we'll be we will be previewing the Collingwood North Melbourne game. Let's get into it. So before we jump into it, of course, this is in partnership with the Footy Live app. Make sure you go down into the comments down below and download it. Really appreciate everything that they're doing. So now let's get into this preview of what is a huge game, but for a number of reasons. We've technically got a home game, but it's an away game pretty much because we travel to the wilderness that is Marvel Stadium. And I know people don't really like Marvel Stadium. I actually don't mind it too much. I'm a big Marvel fan, big comic book fan, so I love going there and seeing all my heroes pretty much. I get two types of heroes. I get the Collingwood heroes and I get my Marvel heroes. But yeah, so we traveled to Marvel to play North Melbourne there. And I know, like I just said, everyone sort of hates Marvel, but I get that we have to play two home games at Marvel because of the AFL want to maximise their ticket sales and stuff like that. But why the hell do we have to verse Marvel home teams at Marvel Stadium? It's just so bloody dumb to me. It's just so stupid, right? Last year we played Brisbane Lions there. That makes sense. Kind of, something like that should be played at the G anyway. And then we played Western Bulldogs there, and that's Western Bulldogs' home ground. So this year we played the Brisbane Lions there again towards the end of the year, which should be at the MCG anyway, but we also played North Melbourne there, which is North Melbourne's home ground. So look, I don't think there's too much of an advantage or a disadvantage playing at Marvel, but it's just really stupid that we have to play Marvel tenants, that it's their home ground, but it's our home game. Like, we should be playing teams like Gold Coast there. The Giants should be played at Marvel Stadium. It shouldn't be played at the MCG. Why do the Giants command the MCG, which is stupid? But anyway, that's just a little bit of my Marvel rant. All right, so after that little rant, this game is big for a number of reasons, right? First reason is we have the opportunity to go 10-1 after 11 rounds, which is just, to me, absurd. Absurd? I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just insane, right? It's just absolutely insane to go 10-1 to start the season. And that's huge, and we'll talk a little bit about that later and my thoughts on that. The second reason this is a huge game, Steel Sidebottom's 300th game. They're only the fourth Magpie to ever play 300 games, which is huge, and I'll talk about that in a separate video. I want to give him a separate video. And of course, Mason Cox's 100th game. Coxie, 100 games, absolutely incredible. I think he's been in the system for about 9 years or so now, so nearly a decade, but he'll get his own video with the Steel Sidebottom thing. So 3 huge reasons why this is going to be a big game, and it's a sellout. We've sold out Marvel. Who the hell does that? We run this league. We absolutely run this league. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, cool. We just smashed Carlton. We put another nail into Carlton's coffin, which is awesome. I'm all for that. I absolutely love that. And now we've got 2 buys coming up. We've got the North Melbourne Football Club, and then we've got the West Coast Eagles in Perth. Now, that gives me bad juju. And I don't know if that's because I am a bit of a cynical Collingwood supporter who tries to be an optimist at times, or because, we've just been burnt too many times. All you have to do is look back to the West Coast game last year at Marvel, ironically, or coincidentally, and we were supposed to win that game, and we lose that game when they just had a depleted sort of team, right? So these games can't be taken lightly. Yes, North Melbourne are down the bottom. They've just lost Alistair Clarkson, but you just only have to look back to what they did against Sydney. And I know Sydney aren't setting the world on fire or anything like that, but they really, gave it to Sydney and nearly won that game bar, a dumb interchange sort of rotation number there. So North Melbourne have got nothing to lose. And what do they say? Beware the wounded bear, or beware the wounded animal, right? Because they've got nothing to lose. And I don't know if they want to tank to get Harley Reid or whatever it may be, but for all intents and purposes, their backs are right against the wall. They are just going to come out swinging. They're going to do positional changes, or they're going to try new things because no one expects them to win, so they're going to try new things. So that is why when people say, oh, we've just got to buy, it's just North Melbourne, we're going to win by 200 points. Like, I'd love to get a nice percentage booster, I'd love to win by 150 points, like Hawthorn pretty much did against West Coast, but I don't see that sort of thing happening. I just think that this is going to be one of those games where, and you just have to look at last year again. Kangaroos, down the bottom, they were leading by 20 or something points at three-quarter time. Like, I know we're a very different team, but it's just those little voices in your head that just start creeping in. But in saying all of that, this Collingwood team is absolutely magical, right? We know that. We know they're absolutely magical. We've already established that we can beat the likes of like a GWS that's down the bottom with us. We can beat the likes of Carlton, who also was like a wounded animal with the backs against the wall. These games here, we have to put our foot down, foot straight to the throat, put the sword into them, or whatever, our sort of analogy you want to use. We need these percentage boosters. We got a pretty healthy percentage, but we need to win big against this. And, who knows what the team's sort of going to look like. We might have a debutant in Harvey Harrison because he's been named a couple of times. Maybe we give someone a bit of a rest. I wouldn't be making too many changes because, too many changes wrecks the synergy of the team. But we also have to think that we've got a number of players returning in the next few weeks. We've got to ease them into it. I'm not saying that they're going to return before the bye, but maybe we give some players a rest in the next couple of weeks because the second half of the season is going to be absolutely huge. To me, this game is going to be sort of won and lost. It's really hard to tell because the Kangaroos aren't setting the world on fire. It's just going to be won and lost. It's just to me, it's just a mind battle, right? It's just, the Collingwood of old, if we were versing someone down the bottom of the ladder, we would play to the bottom of the ladder, sort of a level like that. But this new sort of Collingwood that we're seeing and what Fly's instilled is we're just humming, right? We're absolutely humming. And I don't see us going down to that sort of level. I see us playing at a really, really, really cool level. Obviously, the midfield, games are always lost in the midfield, right? But if you look at the numbers here, the Kangaroos are ranked 17th in inside 50s per game. So they're not getting the ball up there. They're ranked 17th in tackles, 17th in points, 16th and 13th in kicks and disposals. So they don't do much with the ball, and especially that tackling, ranked 17th in tackles per game. We should just be having a field day. Everything on paper is saying that Collingwood should be having a field day. But then on the inverse, you look at, they're ranked second in least opponent clearances per game. So they're keeping their opponent to not a lot of clearances per game. We do a lot of clearance work. We're a very good clearance team now that we have Tom Mitchell. We're scoring a lot from stoppages. So that's what the Kangaroos are going to try and stop us. They're going to try and nullify our scores from stoppages. They're ranked 4th in least opponent clangers per game, ranked 3rd in least opponent rebounds per rebound 50 per game. So again, with Nick Dacos coming through the halfback, Isaac Quaynor, Darcy Moore, that rebound game, that counter-attacking game that we know and love, they're going to sort of stop that. So they've got two things that they can stop, and they're pretty good at stopping. Rebounds 50s per game and opponent clearances per game. That's two of our mainstays. So we're going to have to they're going to try and nullify it. We're going to have to try and work another way, or is there a plan B? Is there a plan C if that happens? Talking about Nick Dacos, do I think that they're going to tag him? This is probably just going to be every time I make a video like this. They probably will. It's North Melbourne. They're probably going to send someone to him. Who will they send? I don't know, but they're going to try and niggle him and stuff. But good. We absolutely love that. Big calls and predictions. I think Collingwood are going to win by over 60 points. I know everyone's probably thinking, oh, it's going to be huge. I think 60 points is a good sort of margin to be like, I know the Kangaroos are going to throw absolutely everything at us, but I know we're going to just start putting goals on the board, hopefully, because we really need this percentage booster if we do go on and win this game. My big call, though, and I know this is a very weird call because it probably won't happen, but it's a big call for a reason. Mason Cox has kicked one bag of 5 in his career. I think it was against the Lions. It was against Melbourne, actually. I think that was it was Queen's birthday. Yeah, 2018, where he absolutely just floored everyone, right? I think he might kick 6. I think they're going to chuck him into the forward line a little bit. It's going to be a bit of a cock celebration in the forward line. And I reckon he'll kick half a dozen, especially against the Kangaroos. I think he's going to have a really big day. Had a bit of a down week last week. Obviously, the week before he was, up and about. I think, he's going to kick half a dozen. And that's a huge call, but fingers crossed it happens. Also, you probably remember either at the start of the year or last year, I said that my brother got me this little thing, which is a microphone, and I was supposed to start doing like Swoop on the street or whatever you want to call it, and I just haven't had the time and stuff like that. But I'm going to get there really early on, or not really early, I'm going to get there pretty early on Sunday. I'm going to be at one of the gates. I'll look at my Instagram for sort of things. We're going to take this mic out and we're going to do a swoop on the street, or whatever you want to call it, and see how that works. I don't know if it's going to be on the vlog or if it's going to be its own separate thing, but we're going to do that, see how it works, and go from there. Really, really keen. I did one with Back to the Bench Boys, and that was really fun. So keen for that. Look out for that. Look out for that on my Instagram. But like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.